Hey, this is Mr. Harper again. Sorry it's taken me so long to make these last videos. I'm going to go ahead and talk about solving the quadratic equation using all three methods. Now let me say this, I don't want you to use all three methods. I should have said this more clearly in class, but really the only method I'm interested in here is the quadratic formula. And there's many reasons for that. Number one, we're dealing with fractions, and I know trying to complete the square and factoring and all that would be just a pain in the butt, and more than likely it's not going to factor anyway, and so I just want you to worry about the quadratic formula. Now if you don't remember, this was my equation here in standard form. So once you get in standard form, then you can actually do the quadratic formula. And if you remember the quadratic formula, it is x, let me use a different color here. It is x equals negative b plus or minus square root of the b squared minus 4, for some reason my pen's not working, AC, that's a terrible C, that's okay though, all over 2 times A. Alright, so if you remember, this is my problem in standard form, and so negative 1/4 is my A value. Your A value is always in front of the x squared. So this is my, if it will work, there we go. This is my A value. 1/2, which is next to the x here, is my B. And 11/4 is my C. Now some of y'all are thinking, oh no, we got to deal with fractions. But if you have a calculator, it's really not that bad. And I don't usually recommend plugging things just in your calculator, but I think this would be a very beneficial time to do that. Now, negative b means really the opposite sign of b. So my b is positive 1/2, so negative b would be, let me go ahead and do x equals negative 1/2 plus or minus square root of, well, again, my b is 1/2, so I'm going to do 1/2 squared. Oops, let me try that again. Be patient with me. I may take a long time, but that'll be all right. 1/2, that's a 1/2 squared minus 4. My A is negative 1/4. And my C is 11/4. Now, let me say this. When you plug it in your calculator, it should look exactly like this, except of course you can only plug in a plus or minus. You can't do a plus and minus in the calculator. But make sure when you plug this in the calculator, let me finish first, all over, and make sure this fraction covers all of this, not just this portion right here. A lot of people are only dividing this portion by the 2a, but it's the whole thing here. So it's 2 times my A is negative 1/4, because that's my A value. Alright, so let me say this, and you can plug this in the calculator just how it looks. I mean exactly how I have it written here. The one thing you have to make sure though with the calculators we use in class and is that, number one, this right here is a negative, not a minus, negative. This right here, if you put the minus sign here, it would be a minus. So negative minus, this is a minus sign, this is a negative sign. So make sure, and this is also a negative sign. The way I look at it is this and this are the only two minus signs here. This is a minus and this is a minus. So I'll go ahead and kind of, those are your minus. Goodness, this is terrible. No, there we go. All right, this is my, let me do this backwards here. Minus, there we go. It's my minus signs. Everything else is negative. So anything you're plugging in for A, B, or C is negative. These two here, though, are my minus signs. And when I plug that in for my problem, I got x equals 1 plus or minus 2 square root of 3, which approximately, and that's what this symbol means, is about negative 2.5 and 4.5. That's an approximation, of course, but I rounded to the nearest tenths. And again, remember, I'm not looking for perfection. I'm looking mostly for understanding. But if you plug this in your calculator just like this is what you should get. And the one thing I want you to know is this. Look at my answers, negative 2.5 and 4.5. These are supposed to represent my x-intercepts. Anytime I solve a quadratic equation, I am finding the x-intercepts. So if I actually go, let me see if I can click on this. Oops, there it is. If I go back to my graph, notice, remember I got -2.5. If you look at my graph, I had my x-intercept at about -2. Now, of course, -2.5 is about right here. But again, I'm close. There probably was just some little mistake in regards to maybe my vertex or something, so that's why it's a little off. But it is really close. Make sure you're not getting something that's, you know, far away from what it was on the graph. Another one was 4.5, which again, somewhere right here, but again, that's really close. So something, again, I think my vertex is actually in a different spot than I had it. I think it's actually maybe a little bit to the left here, but that's okay. Again, mostly I'm looking for that you know how to solve the problems, you understand a quadratic, and you know how to graph it. And so, oops, let's go back. So again, this is your quadratic equation. That's all I want you to do. Plug in your A, B, C, and make sure that these two here are your minus signs. This one here and this one here. That's your minus sign. Everything else is negative when you plug it in the calculator. I hope that helps, and again, I hope y'all do well on that project. It is due Monday.